Have you ever wondered what a peaceful kingdom does when its silence is threatened by the sound of danger? In the quiet valleys of Bhutan, where happiness is a national goal and harmony is a way of life, a powerful story unfolded, one where peace met courage, and a small nation stood tall against rising shadows. Bhutan's military philosophy is deeply rooted in its cultural and spiritual values, particularly those inspired by Buddhism. Unlike many nations that prioritize military expansion or aggressive defense strategies, Bhutan has always emphasized nonviolence and peaceful coexistence. The country's approach to governance is guided by the unique concept of gross national happiness, GNH, which prioritizes the well-being of its citizens over economic or territorial ambitions. Within this framework, the military is not seen as a tool for dominance but as a necessary component for maintaining peace, sovereignty, and internal security. Bhutan's geographical position, nestled between powerful neighbors like India and China, has influenced its careful and balanced approach to military affairs. It has avoided conflicts and refrained from participating in external wars, preferring diplomacy and dialogue. The Royal Bhutan Army, RBA, was established not to project power abroad, but to ensure the safety and stability of the kingdom within its own borders. Over the years, Bhutan has maintained a modest-sized army, well-trained but limited in resources and numbers. Reflecting its intent to defend rather than to attack, the focus remains on protecting the people, maintaining border integrity, and responding to internal threats without compromising the nation's peaceful stance. Military personnel in Bhutan are often respected not only for their strength, but also for their discipline and alignment with the country's moral values. Their training includes not just tactical preparation, but also teachings on responsibility and humility. Bhutan's leaders have consistently resisted pressure to militarize beyond what is necessary, reinforcing the belief that true strength lies in compassion, restraint, and readiness only when absolutely required. Even during moments of threat, Bhutan's actions are measured, rooted in a desire to preserve peace, while quietly ensuring the country's defense and independence are never taken for granted. In 2003, Bhutan launched its first and only major military offensive, known as Operation All Clear. This marked a turning point in the country's military history. For years, Indian insurgent groups such as the United Liberation Front of Assam ULFA, the National Democratic Front of Badaland, NDFB, and the Kamtopa Liberation Organization, KLO, had secretly established over 30 camps in the dense forests of southern Bhutan. These groups used Bhutanese territory as a safe haven to launch attacks across the border into India, posing a serious threat to regional stability and risking Bhutan's traditionally peaceful reputation. The Bhutanese government made several attempts to negotiate with these groups peacefully. Despite repeated requests and dialogues, the militants refused to leave. After exhausting all diplomatic avenues and under increasing pressure to protect its sovereignty and maintain friendly ties with India, Bhutan made the difficult decision to act militarily. The Royal Bhutan Army prepared in secret for months, carefully planning the operation to minimize civilian harm and environmental damage. In December 2003, the army launched a swift and coordinated assault on the militant camps. Over the span of several days, the RBA moved through rugged terrain, capturing or destroying insurgent bases. Despite being relatively small in number, Bhutanese troops carried out the operation with discipline and determination, surprising many with their effectiveness. The militants were flushed out, and the operation was declared a success. The offensive demonstrated Bhutan's resolve to protect its territorial integrity and uphold peace, even if it meant engaging in combat. It also marked the country's transformation from passive defense to active protection of its borders. Operation All Clear earned Bhutan international respect for taking decisive action without external military assistance on the ground, showing the strength of a peaceful nation when faced with a direct threat. Although Bhutan carried out Operation All Clear independently, its close partnership with India played a crucial role in the success of the campaign. India had long been concerned about the presence of insurgent groups using Bhutanese territory as a base to launch attacks into its northeastern states. These militants were a major threat to Indian national security and their continued operations. From inside, Bhutan strained the friendly relationship between the two countries. However, Bhutan insisted on handling the situation on its own soil with its own forces, a move that was widely respected. India, understanding Bhutan's desire to act independently, offered support in ways that did not compromise Bhutan's sovereignty. This included intelligence sharing, logistical coordination, and humanitarian assistance during and after the operation. The Indian Army provided essential data on the layout of the militant camps, helped track movements across the border, and later assisted with medical aid and rehabilitation for Bhutanese soldiers. Indian helicopters and transportation units helped with evacuations and supply drops, ensuring that Bhutanese troops remained supported throughout the campaign. Additionally, India secured its side of the border to prevent militants from escaping and re-entering Indian territory, thereby tightening the noose around the insurgents. The cooperation demonstrated the strength of the Indo-Bhutan relationship, which has historically been based on mutual respect, non-interference, and strategic partnership. The coordination between the two countries during the operation set a precedent for how small states can preserve autonomy while cooperating with larger allies for shared security goals. Bhutan's decision to launch the offensive alone, yet accept non-combat support from India, highlighted its balanced approach to foreign policy, asserting independence while honoring its diplomatic ties. This cooperation further solidified trust between the two nations and reinforced their shared commitment to maintaining peace and security in the region. Bhutan's military strength lies not in numbers but in discipline, strategy, and purpose. The Royal Bhutan Army (RBA), along with the Royal Bodyguard and Royal Bhutan Police, forms the core of Bhutan's defense forces. The RBA is relatively small compared to other nations, but it is trained to operate in Bhutan's unique mountainous terrain. Soldiers are prepared for both defensive operations and internal security duties. Recruitment into the army is voluntary, and service members are trained in tactics suitable for high-altitude environments and dense forests. The focus of the military is not on external aggression, but on protecting national sovereignty, securing borders, and maintaining peace within the country. Given Bhutan's emphasis on harmony and non-violence, the army operates under strict principles of restraint, engaging in action only when absolutely necessary. Bhutan does not have an air force or navy, as it is a landlocked country surrounded by friendly borders. To maintain readiness, Bhutan receives consistent military training and advisory support from India. Indian military academies often host Bhutanese officers for specialized training in command, strategy, and field operations. This cooperation ensures that Bhutan's army remains modern and capable, despite its limited size and resources. The military also plays an important role in civil support, such as during natural disasters or infrastructure development in remote regions. Soldiers are often involved in building roads, transporting supplies, and assisting with humanitarian missions. Military service in Bhutan is held in high regard, with a strong cultural respect for discipline and sacrifice. The government ensures that soldiers are treated with dignity and that their actions align with the national ethos of peace and balance. Bhutan's military, though modest in scale, stands as a symbol of national unity and quiet strength, guarding the country's independence while upholding its commitment to peace and stability. The impact of Operation All Clear was significant both within Bhutan and across the region. Internally, it marked a moment of national unity and pride, as the Royal Bhutan Army successfully carried out a difficult and dangerous operation without direct foreign military involvement. The operation dismantled more than 30 militant camps, captured large stockpiles of weapons and supplies, and either drove out or eliminated hundreds of insurgents who had been using Bhutanese soil to plan attacks against India. This not only restored security in the southern districts of Bhutan, but also sent a clear message that the country would not tolerate any threat to its sovereignty. For many Bhutanese citizens, the operation was a reminder of the strength and dedication of their armed forces, reinforcing trust in national institutions and leadership. On a regional level, Operation All Clear greatly improved Bhutan's diplomatic standing. India, in particular, praised Bhutan's action, seeing it as a bold and independent decision by a small but strong neighbor to uphold regional peace. The operation deepened military cooperation and strategic trust between the two countries. International observers noted the discipline and professionalism with which Bhutan conducted the offensive, especially in a context where the country had little previous experience with large-scale military engagements. There were also humanitarian efforts undertaken afterward to care for displaced civilians and to restore areas affected by the conflict. The success of the operation encouraged Bhutan to continue developing its defense capabilities, particularly in border management and counterinsurgency readiness. It also highlighted the importance of constant vigilance, even for a nation committed to peace. Operation All Clear became a milestone in Bhutanese history, a rare example of a peaceful nation taking up arms only to preserve the very values it cherishes most: sovereignty, stability, and the right to live without fear. The legacy of Operation All Clear shaped Bhutan's approach to national security and foreign policy for years to come. After the operation, Bhutan recognized the importance of maintaining a stronger defense posture without compromising its peaceful identity. The experience revealed how external threats could arise even when a country maintains neutrality and diplomacy, prompting Bhutan to enhance its surveillance and border management capabilities. It also led to structural improvements within the Royal Bhutan Army, including better training, equipment upgrades, and more rigorous security protocols, particularly in regions close to the Indian border. While Bhutan remained committed to its principle of non-aggression, it became more proactive in addressing risks to its sovereignty. The government began investing in intelligence gathering and defense infrastructure, balancing its traditional pacifism with a practical understanding of modern threats. Bhutan continued to rely on its close partnership with India for training and strategic guidance, but always emphasized self-reliance when it came to actions within its territory. This balanced approach ensured that Bhutan retained control over its national defense decisions while strengthening regional ties. Operation All Clear also had a psychological impact on the Bhutanese people, reinforcing national pride and resilience. Citizens viewed the military not just as defenders, but as protectors of Bhutan's values and way of life. The campaign became a defining event in the country's recent history, taught in schools and remembered in public discourse as a moment when Bhutan stood firmly in defense of peace. It demonstrated that even small nations can act decisively and with integrity when their sovereignty is challenged. The legacy of the operation is a more vigilant and prepared Bhutan, one that remains deeply rooted in its peaceful philosophy but is no longer unprepared to confront threats that endanger its security, harmony, and national dignity. So when we look back at the story of Bhutan's military war attack, especially Operation All Clear, we see more than just a military action. We see a peaceful nation rising with quiet strength, choosing to defend its land, its people, and its values when there was no other choice. Bhutan didn't seek conflict, but it showed the world that even a small country, guided by compassion and calm, can act with courage and clarity when peace is at risk. Through unity, discipline, and wisdom, Bhutan reminded us all that protecting what is good and just doesn't require anger, it requires heart. And in doing so, Bhutan not only secured its borders but also strengthened the soul of its nation.